Hard Rock Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. On March 31st.
And that's to start the show. Welcome to Sunday morning edition of the Hard Rock Sports Sunday Morning Football Show, live from high atop Hard Rock Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. This is your weekly football breakdown show with co-hosts Jeff Towinski and Tom Florian. I'm about to bring Jeff on, who looks like he is home today.
Yes, I am, man.
I see that, wearing his camo Iron Maiden hat.
That's right. Something I have that you do not.
I do not have a camo Iron Maiden hat. That's very true.
So,
not much, man. I'm glad to see you home relaxing today. Is it a home relaxing day?
See how relaxed I am, like with my fucking hair.
It's okay. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a football Sunday. I don't know how much football either one of us will be watching live, but we do our football weekly show every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Not to be confused with the Thursday evening show. Although, Jeff, I don't know how people would get confused there different days.
I'm sure we know some people that don't know the difference of days and chemicals and drinking.
Yeah, I saw some Facebook posts over the weekend that led me to believe that we might have that issue with some people we know.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to some football, Jeff. Week 2 starting up. It goes quick. It takes a long time to get here, but once it gets started, I feel like the NFL flies.
Yeah, already week 2. It's like, wow.
Yeah, well, I think a couple things this year. First off, no preseason, so you're right. You don't get that build up that you usually get. So that's the first problem I have this year. I have 2 problems. The second one is Thanksgiving is a week later again this year than it normally is. It's, again, the last Thursday of the month instead of the third Thursday of the month, which we all know, to me at least, it starts the traditional Christmas season. So for me, it feels like the Christmas season has been reduced again.
No, that's you're doing it wrong, man. You must be prepared for Christmas before it gets here, actually.
I you know what? This year, I usually kind of wait to flip the switch to Thanksgiving, but no, this year I will do as my tradition will hold. The third Thursday of the month, the tree will be up, lit. I will be in full Christmas mode. The show will be in full Christmas mode.
Maybe I could see if you wanted to just back off a little bit. You put the tree up, but you don't really officially light it till after dinner on Thanksgiving. That's what we normally do. Okay. We start putting the tree up. We started a few years ago putting it up after dinner on Thanksgiving, and now we've pushed that up to the Wednesday before Thanksgiving because it's like we don't go out that Wednesday night.
Yeah, no.
So we just start putting up the tree. And this year, being that we lived in a new house, we have a couple different things going on.
Oh, really?
Which is we have like a 7-foot ceiling and a 7-foot tree. Which means that I must reduce the height of the tree by at least 12 inches. This can't be good.
No.
I'm going to be taking on the role of engineer and contractor for this.
We'll have to reach out to maybe Yukon Cornelius, maybe get you some help.
Yeah, maybe Paul Bunyan with an axe.
Maybe do something. And just so you know, I've reached out to Santa for an appearance on the show during the Christmas season this year. I got a feeling that maybe, just maybe, Santa Maloykia may be calling in during the show at some point for Christmas.
Well, listen, if not, if he can't come in or whatever, hopefully he can. Hopefully, maybe we could get a real live elf on finally.
You know what? There's been no sightings. He is engaged, I believe. He has gotten engaged. Our little elf, Elfin Magic, as we call him around here. Yeah. So, well, let's get to some football. The Thursday's more for this. We'll have some fun tonight. Remember, Thursday, guys, we have no guests lined up other than we'll get to Rafael Esparza, a good friend over at MyBookie AG, who'll back on his bi-weekly thing. There's a lot of football. Jeff, I know real quick before we get to the NFL, I watched a bunch of college games yesterday. I have to tell you, the level of college football play, for the most part, it was a couple decent games, was bad. I tried to watch Clemson and the Citadel. It was 48 or 49-0 in like the second quarter, and that's where it ended. I didn't even try to watch the end of it.
I'm imagining Clemson was leading at that point.
49-0 at second quarter. Now, they must have just sat on the ball in the second half. Good morning, Sam. Notre Dame. The only thing in the Notre Dame game, it was a matter of would they cover the over by themselves, and I believe they scored 52 points and won 52-0 over USF, University of South Florida. Yeah, I mean, the good news is, and I'm wearing an honor today. I'll see if you can see it. I got my Nebraska shirt on. Big Ten. It will be starting their schedule October 24th. Nebraska got a tough schedule, but I'm looking forward to college football kicking, for me at least, kicking off, and some good games. One good game was Tulane and Navy yesterday. Was a very good football game. But let's get to the NFL, Jeff. You want to hold the? God.
It's important for a lot of different reasons that these the different college divisions start playing, because every time that a new one starts up, that means that we're getting that much closer to life returning.
Hello, Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Popping in the background.
Yeah.
The lovely Mrs. Tomwinski. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Terrific, Sharon. Thank you for letting me borrow your husband for an hour this morning.
Well, he's never usually home on Sundays anyway, so I'm pretending he's not here, going about my business,
I'm sure that most times you want to pretend he's not there anyway.
He's all right. See you later.
See you, Sharon. So, but yes, you were saying, Jeff, getting back to some normalcy. Is that what you were headed?
Think about it, man. The more leagues, divisions, and everything else, and conferences of college football that are getting back. Like last night, I was watching Louisville and Miami.
Good football game.
There was people in the stands.
Yes.
More importantly.
Yes.
Now, I didn't watch. I watched maybe about it was probably the beginning of the second quarter, and I shut it off before halftime.
Okay.
I went off and did something else, but I'm watching. I'm like, there's people in the stands.
Yeah.
And I don't know, where was that game from? Do you know?
I think it was in Louisville, if I'm not mistaken.
Louisville. Okay. All right. So then never mind that. I was going to say, now Florida was supposed to be a hot spot. And if that game was being broadcast from Florida, yes, you're right. It was from Louisville. The logo was on the field.
Yeah, I was almost positive. I flipped back and forth. I saw that. I haven't gotten the college football bug yet. I will now that basically everybody but the Pac-10, no UCLA, no USC. But now that college, especially the Big Ten's back, I get to get more into it. It's going to be a packed college season. They're going to be squeezing a lot of football games in, trying to get everybody done for the playoff season. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully we get some traction in the NFL.
I think that's done for the year.
The NFL?
Yeah.
I think barring a miracle, I agree with you on that, Jeff. I think the tone of the games. I'm interested today. I will watch the opening of at least one game to see what they do and they don't do. But yeah, I agree. Listen, ratings were down tremendously last week. Other than the Brady Breeze game, NFL ratings were down last week. They can spin it all they want. People at home can't go to games, and ratings were down. I think 15% or better. I know the Sunday night game, I think Sunday night or the second Monday night game was like 30% down. Jeez. So nobody was watching. In an era where people are desperate for live sports ratings are way down this year.
Well, like I said, as a fan, somebody that watches football, there's so many different things that they could have done.
Yeah.
To help get their message across. They could have said week 1 we're dedicating towards Black Lives Matter and whatever. Go all out for week 1, put your logos up, your stickers up, and everything else. And then maybe just, have the teams as a show of unity, link arms, make it every other player, every other coach from the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do something like that to show you one. And I think that would have been a better message sent than what they're doing now, because now they're going to have to do something. They're not going to like losing this much money. They're not.
I agree. The problem is, I think the bigger problem right now, Jeff, for the NFL is the fact that, that the players don't care. Like the players don't see it for the big picture. They don't see the forest for the trees. They don't understand that this is going to cost them money next year. It's all about a message that nobody seems to know what that message is. But
they're not the ones that have to see that message. It's not them. It's the owners to see that message.
I agree. The problem is then you're going to get the owners did this. They didn't want the pushback from the players. That's the bottom line. They did not want the pushback from the players.
When the owners are sitting there come the end of the year and they're counting up their money and they're like, there's a bunch missing from last year. Where did it go?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. Second, when the owners turn around and have a team payroll of X, but meanwhile it's only going to be Y, and they're going to say, well, there's a big difference between.
Oh yeah.
How am I gonna? It's let it all play out. Let it all play out.
Wait till March. Wait till March when the league year ends and it develop what the salary cap for next year is going to be, and it's going to be $10-20 million less because you got no money in this year. Watch how different tune the players take. The players will blame the owners, and there'll be a big fight.
The 10 million, if it's 10 million, I think that could be absorbed. Once it gets past that, I don't think that and don't get me wrong, 10 is a big cut. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, especially when you're Kansas City and you just signed Mahomes to $45-50 million a year. You're struggling now at 180 or 190 million. Now take 10 million off that. That's a whole bunch of players that you just lost.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, and they just signed a bunch of people to contracts. So yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. Week one for me, Jeff, real fast before we go through we run through it. I told you about Thursday that the league kind of dialed back the amount of holding penalties. I guess with no preseason, they were trying to take into account teams would be way behind where they should be. So only 18 holding penalties around the league, which to me, you play 16 games and there's less than one holding penalty per game. I think that's pretty good. But I thought the play was sloppy. Kickers, Jeff, I think they were 18 missed kicks last week.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's his name for the Panthers? I think he missed 4. Steven Gostkowski missed 4 kicks. Finally hit one at the end of the game to win the game, but missed 4 during the game.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't blame a lack of a preseason for that on the kickers. Maybe
I agree with you. I agree.
A kicker could go with a T and his kid.
I agree.
Just be like, here, hold this, and just set up a bunch of balls and.
That tells me that they didn't do what you just said. They could have went to some field and just kicked the ball through uprights at a high school or wherever, and they didn't. And it showed last week. 18 misses in a week, Jeff, is a lot.
Well, I know in Gostkowski's case, right, you said that he missed 4. So take his 4 right off the bat, you're talking 14. Still a lot.
Still a lot.
Gostkowski, if I remember correctly, he's getting up there. He's a little bit on the older side.
Yes.
So, maybe some of his were age-related. He just doesn't have the leg strength or whatever. Who the fuck knows? But
just think about it. Your basic, even take his out, you're still almost 1 per game. I mean, that's a lot of misses. And again, I watched. I didn't watch a lot of football. I watched basically the Giant game, and I'll use that as comparison. I thought the Steelers came out. They were rusty. They were flat. They won on pure ability. I think that the fact that their defense returned 8 starters was a big help. And I think hopefully we'll see a little bit of football today. And we're going to run through it. You want to save the locals for last? You want to do the locals first?
Well, we could save the locals for last, but I just want to tell you that Pittsburgh had a lot of help winning that game last week.
What do you mean?
Well, just what I mean. Due to the New York Giants' non-existent run game and Saquon Barkley running his way to fucking Canton.
I want you to see this. You see this I just put on my desk right now? Jeff, when you were a kid, did you ever watch Batman? Were you a fan of the Batman series?
Of course, man. Adam West was God.
Right. Okay. So Batman used to go in his study. He had a phone, and the phone was directed to the commissioner. I now have the Giant phone, and I have direct line right to Gettleman. So from this point on, any attacks on my team, I will have to reach out on my Giant phone directly to Gettleman.
Chances are that phone's probably can't even be hooked up. There is a cord in the back.
Oh, yes, there is, my friend. I can hook this right up. I just want you to know we are connected right to the Giants this year.
Right.
Just wanted to let you know. But we'll get to the Giants. You can have your fun later. You can absolutely have your fun later. I promise.
Actually, no. I said everything I had to say on Thursday night, which I think was a very professionally done on our part.
I agree, and I think we should keep Sunday the same way. I can't have 2 in a row, huh?
No. Definitely not.
Well, since we're going to skip the locals, let's go right to the Bills Dolphins. Two teams, Jeff, that are again, NFL's opening up division games 2 weeks in a row for both teams. I think there's an interesting matchup. I'm going to give you my take on it real quick. Back-to-back division games. The Bills, a team of two halves, came out last week, firing all cylinders, but second half wasn't pretty. Got the Jets back in the game. The Dolphins need a good showing. Here's the thing for the Dolphins, Jeff. A lot of people, including myself, took last year, said, okay, this is a team on a change, good coaching staff, and need to build on. They went out and had a ton of draft picks and a big free agent haul, and it didn't show up last week. They got beat 21-11. I think here's the biggest question I have. When do we see Tua?
It's still early. You can't I guess you have to go into the season feeling that you have a chance, and maybe that's what the Dolphins feel, that they still have a chance in that division without Brady and things being a little different. And maybe they're in no rush to go to Tua. You didn't have a preseason, so what's the rush to go to him? Either you have the belief that you have a chance, or you have the mindset that it's not happening this year. What's the sense of rushing this kid out here? But a year without him playing could also be dangerous, especially coming off an injury, which would mean that by the time he gets on the field, it'll be about a year and a half, 2 years since he's last played in action.
Yeah.
You don't want him to go that long with, no kind of, without seeing any kind of gameplay.
No.
I think you're going to see him soon, probably by the mid-season.
I don't think it'd be that long, Jeff. I think another poor showing offensively by Fitzpatrick. Look, you're not keeping, if you're the Dolphins, you got to look around the landscape and say we have an opportunity to with our draft picks, with our free agent, with the way we played in the last year, and in a division where I don't know if there's a true number one in that division. You have a chance to sneak up there. You can't wait 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, I think if you have a bad showing this week against the Bills, and the likelihood is it will. This is a home game for the Dolphins. I won't be surprised. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you flat out. I think if first half the Bills have no showing on offense, I think you could see Tua at least getting in the game. Maybe not taking over full, but I could see him getting into some packages and getting his feet wet today.
It's possible. I mean, they have nothing to lose, but, that's the thing with Fitzpatrick, too. He's great this week. Next week, he's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
He's putting up Hall of Fame numbers the next game. So it's like, you don't know what you're going to get and when you're going to get it with him. So, once again, it may be like, what's the rush? We're not going anywhere. It's only week 2. What's the rush?
No,
we can do.
I agree. Next week for the Bills, now here's the one thing about this real quick. I don't want to say too long on any one game. Bills next week against the Rams should be could be a big matchup. So you worry about the Bills. Looking ahead, I'm still picking the Bills in this game. I think the Bills win double digits, 28-14 type of game
Against the Dolphins.
Against the Dolphins, yeah.
I think they'll win. I don't know. You got to remember last year. Look what the Dolphins did last year. They surprised. I wouldn't discount them yet. Flores seems to be so far the bbest coach coming from the Belichick team there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So far, I would agree with that. It remains to be seen. I think he had a great start last year. Took a team that nobody thought could play well and did some good with it. So. Jeff, let's move to the probably the biggest NFC game of the week. Falcons at the Cowboys, 1:00 on Fox. Falcons got smacked last week at home against the Seahawks. Cowboys lost a tough game to the Rams. I'm not sure what to make of the Rams yet, but a tough game. One that I think both teams have to win. This is a must-win game in week 2 for these two teams, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It's because of the way the NFL is now. You're going to want as many wins as possible early to give yourself a cushion, or with injuries, possible injuries, and teams coming out flat. I don't see this being a great game, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I definitely see Dallas coming out ahead. Dallas, I think, needs it more than Atlanta does.
I'll agree with you on that. I think the Falcons defense, which doesn't bode well for their head coach, who's a defense came over as a defensive guru. This team has not been good defensively since he got here. But yeah, I think the Cowboys will find a way to win this game because they're home and because they're desperate. But this is going to be a telling game for both teams. I think when you watch this game, you'll get a pretty good idea of where these two teams are for this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Next week, the Cowboys are the Falcons play the Bears, and I'm not sure the Cowboys play. I didn't jot that down. So this is a tough. Just for a couple facts, interesting ones. Real quick, Falcons are 5-0 in week 2 since 2015. Also, Dan Quinn is 5-1 against McCarthy as the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, and 3-0 against McCarthy teams in the NFL. So little something to pay attention to for this game. Jeff, next game is another interesting one for me. Rams Eagles. Here's what I'll give you my quick take. Rams. The one thing they showed last week in the beating of the Cowboys is they can rush the passer, and the one thing the Eagles showed last week is they cannot protect the passer. Rams are flying across country for a 1:00 game. Usually does not bode well for the West Coast team. I like the Rams in this game. I don't think it's going to be a big scoring game, but I think the Rams win this, and I'll be surprised if they don't take Wentz off the field in a body bag.
It's possible. I think I have a little bit more faith in the Rams with this one. They don't seem to be a pushover yet. They seem to have definitely improved upon last year, I feel.
So far, it's hard to argue.
Yeah, it's hard to say with one game, hard to argue either way.
Yeah.
But I would, if I was a betting guy, I would definitely take the Rams.
I agree. I don't like the Eagles today. I don't think a lot of injuries. Let's see. When he gets time, he can throw the ball. He's got some weapons, but the problem is they cannot protect him. I think he got sacked 8 times last week.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that's a tough game. That's a tough one to get started. Let's move on. I'm gonna take the Rams this one. Jeff likes the Eagles. The next game,
I said the Rams.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. Okay, so we both like the Rams in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Next up, we'll go to the Ravens at the Texans. Super important game for the Texans. They came out. I don't say flat, but not playing well against the Chiefs opening night. They get the Ravens, tough schedule. Let's see. I had the big notes. I'm sorry, looking for my notes on this one. Ravens. Okay. Let's see. Texans, Ravens blow a win. Yeah, I mean, just listen. Last week the Ravens won 38-6 over the Browns. Texans 38-21 loses to the Chiefs. Listen, here's simple. Texans have to win this game, or at least have a really good showing. 0-2 in that division, going to be tough. Ravens just need to keep building. I think the Ravens were a little flated last week playing the Browns. If I'm picking this game, I'd have to take the Ravens. I
agree. Ravens all the way.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Another big matchup this week, Jeff, is the Patriots and the Seahawks. Big game. This is a Sunday night game on NBC. Look, Belichick doesn't have the same team. Let's be honest. This is the tough team. This is going to be a big game for Belichick and his team today. You go out today into Seattle and win this game, Jeff. You're saying it's something. Same thing for the States. The Seahawks cannot lose a game like this in that division. Now, this is a game they should win. They're home. Big thing, though, for me, Jeff, Seattle, no home field advantage. It will be a very quiet Seahawks stadium.
Yeah, it will be because of the pandemic and everything. But I really believe that the Patriots aren't as bad off as we gave them credit for. Cam Newton had a good game last week.
Mm-hmm.
Any other year, this would have been a possible Super Bowl preview for the last maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, matter of fact, it was a Super Bowl at one point in time.
Sure was, yeah.
There's no reason to believe that this, if the time was rolled back a little bit, that this wouldn't be a huge game.
Yeah.
Later on in the season, it may end up being a big game for one of these two teams. You just don't know. So, as of right now, only because of my hate for the Patriots and a dislike of Cam Newton, I would have to say I'm going with the Seahawks on this one over the Patriots.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, listen, mine is the opposite. I hate Pete Carroll, excuse me. I hate Pete Carroll and the Patriots, and I have a hard time rooting for them, and I won't. I'll root for the Patriots in this game. I think this is a tough game to win. I'm going to not pick this game because I'd have to pick the Seahawks, and I won't do it. But I'll tell you, this is going to be a very tough match. If the Patriots go in and they don't have to win this game. They got to keep it close. They got to put on a good showing, and maybe make this a last drive football game. And then the Patriots can afford to lose this game. I'm not sure the Seahawks can. That's a tough division. A lot of teams winning. 49ers have a game against the Jets. They should be 2-0. The Cardinals, look like a better football team. Seahawks can't afford. I think the Seahawks have to win this one. The Patriots need a good showing, in my opinion.
Well, without picking a team, your pick goes towards the home team, so that's 2 for the Seahawks.
All right, I won't argue it. I won't argue that. I'd have to say you're probably right. We'll go to the Jaguars and the Titans. Interesting about the Jaguars, Jeff. Gardner Minshew, 19 of 20 for 2-something last week. Just unconscious. Completely overwhelmed the Colts, who I had picked in that game. So that was a tough loss, I think. And listen, Derrick Henry's going to run the football. The Jaguars forced no punts last week. Let's see. Jags have only won 6 times in 25 trips to Nashville. Gardner Minshew was 19 of 20. I'm going to take the Titans in this game. Titans go to the Vikings next week. And the Jaguars are home versus away against the Dolphins. Interesting matchup. I think this is a boring football game, and I take the Titans in a relatively close game.
I hear you. I don't like the Titans, and I don't like the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I gotta say this much, man. I think you gotta give anybody that was named Gardner. Has to get something in life, and I'm going to give it to him, and I'm going to say Jaguars win this one. I really think since last year, he hasn't done much to hurt himself.
No.
But, maybe the Jaguars have their quarterback on the team. Maybe they need to try, instead of giving away pieces to move up in the draft, maybe they should try to build around this guy and see what they have in this guy.
Well, you know what? I said it before the season started, and I said they were in total, tank mode, and they go out there last week and they did a good job. And if they were to win today, it sets up a whole different season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2-0. That's a different. Not that they can't lose the last 15 games.
I don't see them competing for the division, but
no.
I think they should give Mr. and Mrs. Minshew's son a chance.
Well, listen, if he goes out and has another game like he did last week, I think people will. Listen, I think he was a novelty last year. Wasn't supposed to start. Got to start because Foles was hurt. But listen, you go 19 to 20 in the NFL. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Jeff, another big game. Listen, on paper, this is not a good football game. But the Panthers at the Bucs Sunday 1:00. The Buccaneers are underdogs by 8.5. This is a big game for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, Jeff. Now, I hate to think that game 2 of the season, but Tom Brady and the Bucs cannot go out 0-2.
Listen, I told you. I just don't think this is the team that everybody thought they were. And it's unfortunate they're playing the Carolina Panthers now. I would like to have seen them against a tougher team that would have really fucking pounded the shit out of them. Well, but I don't think Brady is what everybody thinks he is.
Again, you know what, Jeff? That's going to remain to be seen. I think that this is, this was a flawed team last year, and most of us, and let's say me, I pinned a lot of it on their quarterback play. But listen, if you're the Bucs, you have to go out and win this game and handily take this one home. The Panthers are a team that's just not expected to do anything. They're a rebuilding team. To me, you're Brady and them. This needs to be a 28-7, 35-14 win and announce announce his presence with authority.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm going to pick the Bronco. I'm going to pick the Bucks in this game. The Panthers are getting, according to my sheet, by getting 9. If I was betting this game, I'd take the Panthers. But if I'm not going to bet this game. So to me, I like the Bucks at home to rebound off last week's win in a double digits.
And already, don't forget too. Already, Bruce Arians and
yes,
may already there may be some fractures there.
You know what? It's very true. See, here's the difference. Real quick. Belichick was probably a tough guy to play for. Maybe he wasn't fun, but Belichick never said anything out loud. Bruce Arians aired out Tom Brady on TV last week.
Yes, he did.
And Tom Brady's not used to that. So you can, you guys, they can all probably look back now and badmouth Belichick and this, that, and the other thing. And, whether Brady would say it out loud or not, I don't know. But, he got called out by his coach last week and he wasn't happy about it.
I'm going to throw something out there. I'm going to give you something to think about. And I don't even want to hear anything about it now.
Sure.
Okay? But I'm going to throw it out there a couple times throughout the season, just to keep it fresh. Next year, Brady's back on the Patriots.
Now that would be an interesting. That would be interesting.
All right. We got plenty of time. We got all fucking year to talk.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I'm telling you right now, next year, Brady, Billy, back together.
It's 9:32, Hard Rocket Sports Sunday morning football show. Jeff Tawinski, Tom Floria here, hardrocketsports.com for more information on upcoming shows and guests. And, of course, next Thursday, come back on Thursday night for the regular show where we bring in a mix of all hard rock, heavy metal, and the wild world of sports. And right now, guys, baseball's coming to an end. Last week in the regular season, the Yankees have righted the ship, so we'll get into a little bit of baseball this week. 10 wins in a row as of last night's win over the Red Sox. Shaping
the Red Sox, man. 12 straight over the Red Sox.
Yes, the Yankees have just turned it on. They've gotten the troops back, and they're not. Doesn't look like they'll win the division, but they'll make the playoffs. And I'll tell you, if they keep hitting the way they are, 5 home runs in one inning the other night, three in a row. This team will be tough in the playoffs, but we'll talk about baseball on Thursday night. We'll get to some sports and music that we do every Thursday. Jeff, let's move on to the Broncos and the Steelers. The Broncos last week lost to the Titans on Monday night, the game nobody watched, and Steelers beat the Giants in a odd game for me a little bit. Steelers shook off the rust. They got it going. The defense looked formidable. It's the reason. I'll tell you this: there's not a lot of games I'm going to tell you right now that I'm looking forward to. From a pure fan standpoint, I'm looking forward to the first Steelers-Ravens game, Jeff, because it's going to be the true case of the tough, stingy defense versus the wide-open offense, and I'm always curious to see how that's going to play out. Yeah,
well, we will see. And I mean, I don't really believe in Ben Roethlisberger.
Neither do I. That's why I didn't bring him up. That's why I didn't bring him up.
The only reason that I even took that team last week was because of who they were playing last week.
Yes,
I figured that he would have carved them up like a turkey on Thanksgiving. It was still great to see the Steelers pull out a win over not even a mediocre team that they faced last week. But
let me know when you're done.
You know how it is. Oh God, I love it. I love it.
Anyway, yeah. No, I don't feel like the Steeler offense. I think the Steeler offense just has to be a game manager. They just need to not make a ton of mistakes.
You're asking a 40-year-old quarterback to. That's the thing.
Yeah, I agree. But to me, it's going to be a lot like it's going to be. He's got a lot of weapons, so I just think it's going to be one of those things where kind of like Peyton in his last year. He wasn't going to win it by himself, but he had a good running game and a great defense. And I think if Big Ben just is a good game manager, doesn't make a ton of mistakes, scares a couple people during games. That defense, it's really good. Will get better if it stays healthy. So I'm looking forward to that first game, the Ravens Steelers. See how that one shapes out.
No, we'll see.
But this one right now, Jeff, we got the Broncos going to the Steelers. Steelers open up at home. A little bit of controversy in the locker room though. I got to bring that up. We talked about Al Villanueva, put the fallen soldier on his over his on his helmet instead of the supposed victim. And then Maurkice Pouncey came out this week and said, I'm going to take a look at it because I'm not necessarily happy with that choice. So there's a little bit of stuff brewing in their locker room.
Yeah, which led me to believe. I can't believe that the Steelers were a little bit more on point with this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
When it came to that pick. I didn't follow up and read myself what it was all about, but you think that an NFL team would have done their homework to the point, like if we're going to go in on this and take the hit and take the loss on things, we're going to make sure we got the right guy too.
I think it's the same thing, Jeff. I think there's a small faction on each team, 5-10 guys who are kind of gung-ho on it, and the rest of the team just like, all right, we're not going to, I don't want to get into arguments and fist fights. Let's just do it, and I think that's a lot of what you're seeing out there with this. And this is a good point. Maurkice Pouncey basically came out and said, I had no idea. who we were honoring, and I basically have a problem with it. And I think it's, I'm glad to see people stepping up. But this game, Jeff, Broncos, I don't think they have a chance. You're talking about Drew Lock at quarterback against this defense. I know they're traveling across country to play. Steal the defense, you eat them up. And their defense is depleted with no Von Miller. I'm picking the Steelers to win. Steelers will go out 2-0. I'll be shocked if they didn't. And this will set themselves up for next week. Broncos at the Bucks and Steelers versus Texans. So interesting couple of weeks coming up.
Steelers may start off 0-3.
Yeah, Steelers could
be 3-0.
Yeah. No, there's a very, very, very good chance the Steelers will get out the box. I'll take a look at their schedule this week. But I'm going to pick the Steelers in this one, going away probably. I don't know about double digits, but I see like a 27-20 game here. I think the Broncos will put some points on the board.
We'll see. Don't forget, they don't have Von Miller.
Yep.
That might have taken some wind out of their sails. They got Drew Lock starting as quarterback. Just getting his bearings about him. It's early. We'll see.
Yep, another game, another division where they've played 2 games. They'll be playing their second game in the division. Lions at the Packers. Packers up at home this week. Lions getting 6 points. Tough loss for the Lions last week, Jeff. I mean, Matthew Stafford played really well. They were up 23-13, I think it was. Wound up losing the game 27-13. Trubisky 3 touchdowns in the second half to win that game. A tough loss for Matt Patricia, who's trying to save his job.
I think it's over up there.
Well, yeah.
I'd have to say Chicago.
The Packers. They play the Packers today.
Packers, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to pick the Packers. Listen, this is an interesting game because the Packers next week. Here's the problem: the Packers are playing the Saints next week, and I always get a little nervous when teams have what should be an easy game. It's that trap game. And I'm a little nervous that the Packers will overlook the Lions in this one, but I'll take the Packers. I think the Packers will do enough to win. Big explosion last week, 40-something points, beat the Vikings. So I think the Packers – think about this, Jeff. If the Packers win 2-0 and 2 division wins early.
Yeah, and I don't think that the Packers are going to overlook the Lions only because every game in that division is tough. They play one another tough, it seems. It's like their own little battle amongst the 4 of them.
Great point.
I wouldn't say that they're overlooking it. I may say they may not prepare as well, but they're not overlooking, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I got you. You're right.
I think that it's not that they're overlooking. They may just firmly believe that they're a better team. Matt Patricia and Stafford, they might have had a good game last week, but Stafford has had several good games this year and hasn't been able to deliver. It's like a curse. That team is like cursed, the Lions.
He's going to be an interesting guy at the end of his career because the numbers are going to be great, obviously. I mean, he plays in an era where, I think when it comes down to it at the end, looking at Matthew Stafford now, Jeff, I would not call Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer. But I think when the numbers are presented and you get 5 years away from his end of his career, I think he's going to get in based on purely on the numbers. But I think when you examine the fact that he had probably the best receiver of his generation and didn't win a playoff game, I think that should should be the anchor that keeps him from getting in the Hall of Fame?
Well, let me ask you this. Although I understand what you're saying, there may come a time where when you're looking at career yardage, Matthew Stafford may have that record by a mile.
I agree.
And being that a quarterback throws the ball and is, based on yardage and what he's done, it may be hard to not put him in the Hall of Fame just for that alone. I do understand what you're saying. No, he had one of the better receivers in his time and everything else. But, I mean, Matt Patricia, this guy couldn't coach his way out of a cul-de-sac. I just think he's a horrible coach. And there's been a lot of other bad coaches and general managers over there in the Lions, a lot of questionable moves.
Yeah.
And I think the only solid factor that's been there that whole time has been Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
The guy's eclipsed 5,000 yards a couple times. I don't think that it should be held against him only because of what he single-handedly did up there. With his throw, as far as throwing for yardage. But when you're a losing team, you're throwing the ball a lot too.
Great point. That's a great point. I just think that I think this era of quarterbacks, the Matthew Ryans, the Staffords, some of those guys, Kirk Cousins, some of those guys are going to have tremendous. They'll eclipse the Troy Aikmans of the world. They'll eclipse some of the greats of the day. And I don't even think Troy Aikman's a great quarterback, but I use him because if you look at his numbers, they're kind of pedestrian. But I think when you look at them compared to this generation, they'll have 70, 80,000 yards and they'll throw for 200 touchdowns. But to me, again, when I look around, they did not produce when it was big, and I think that's got to be a little bit of an anchor around the neck of those two guys specifically, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so let's get to we got about 20 minutes left. We got the Vikings at the Colts. Both teams coming off bad losses. The Vikings got pounded at home against the Packers. The Colts lost to the Jaguars. This is an interesting matchup. I like the Colts in this one. I think that Frank Reich and Philip Rivers will find a way to win this game. But I think the Vikings, looking up at the Packers, have to win this game. They have to find a way to win it. I think Kirk Cousins is being exposed. I do not believe that his tenure here will be much longer if he doesn't put a good showing on. I had a couple decent notes on this one. The Minnesota defense was terrible. They need to be better. And let's see. So next week, the Vikings are at the Titans next week. So this is a big game. The Titans are no pushovers. I know you and I both agree. I don't love them, but Jeff, the Vikings are in a must-win on the road against the Colts.
Yeah, I put my money down on the Vikings. I don't believe in Philip Rivers.
No, I agree with you. I didn't when he was in San Diego. I think there's another guy that will, when time comes, will get in the Hall of Fame that might not really kind of deserve it to a certain extent.
I don't know. It's hard to say. They won a lot of games, but they didn't do nothing after the season was over.
Well, again, in an era with quarterbacks do a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yardage, Jeff, I think the one thing in this generation you have to look at is, playoff wins, Super Bowls, he had talent around him. So, what was the anchor? Was it him?
Half the time he never made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And with teams that drafted quarterbacks around the same time he did, you can have all the Super Bowl victories you want, but if they were lucky, it really doesn't mean anything.
I would agree with you on that, Jeff. We're cranking down the.
You agree with me?
I agree with you. Yeah, because I know where you're going. I'm going right past it. I'm not even going to pay attention to it. We did that game. We got 3, 4 more left. We got 3 left before we get to the locals, so we'll make these quick. Washington at the Cardinals. This is another interesting game in week 2. The Redskins last week, Jeff, came out, raised a 17-point deficit, beat the Eagles at home. The Cardinals lost to the 49ers. I think, again, the Cardinals again, week 2 is tough to call it must win, but they in that division, they can't afford to be 0-2. I'd like the Cardinals to win this one. I honestly think they'll find a way to neutralize that pass rush. Cardinals will win, 35-21. I think Haskins is a terrible quarterback and will live on the defense. Jeff?
I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this one. The only thing I will say, though, is if that Washington defense starts to gel as the season goes on, they may win games defensively and may not need Haskins to be a top-notch quarterback. He could just be a game manager, because just with Chase Young and some other pieces that defense has, that they may be capable of winning games 14-7, 14-10.
Oh yeah, listen, I think there have to be. Although again, I don't think the defense is really good. I just think they have I think 3 number 1 picks on the defensive line, and Ryan Kerrigan is their number 1 all-time pass rusher. So their front 4 can go get you. Now, if you find a way to neutralize that, I don't find the rest of their defense to be lethal. So I think that you're right. They'll win some games this year strictly based on their defense, because I think their defensive line is that good.
Well, I'm talking about after this year. That this may end up being a number 1 defense in the league for quite some time. Depending if they draft smart, the defense, the players they have, the pieces they have continue to grow, and they get themselves some secondary help. This could be a very good defense for quite some time.
Listen, you put 4 guys on the defensive line like that, and again, all signs to me would point to them having another high draft pick next year. But either way, yeah, right. Land a couple free agents, get a couple good draft picks, and this team could be the number 1 defense just based on that front 4. So, interesting matchup. I think both Jeff and I'll take the Cardinals in this one. Let's go to this is a simple game to me. Chiefs at the Chargers, division game. Shouldn't be close. I think Tyrod Taylor's still starting out there. I think Mahomes, who they play next week. Just always curious on the next week's game, because I was like for that trap game. Let me see if I have my note on that. Who are they playing next week? I don't have it. It really doesn't matter. Chiefs. Oh, here it is. Next week, Chiefs at the Ravens. So this is again another one of those trap games, Jeff. Chiefs have a big game, probably their number 1 division conference rival. Chargers versus the Panthers should be the loser bowl next week. I like Kansas City this week, but I think this may be closer because they may not be paying attention.
It's a division game, and the AFC West, kind of like the NFC North, is another division where they play one another pretty well. I don't see that this time around, though. So I'm going to go Kansas City big. Okay.
It's, again, the signs point to it. With the Ravens next week, I think their attention may be other places, but we'll see. Last game before the locals, Jeff, Saints versus the Raiders. Saints, the first home game for the Raiders this year in the new Las Vegas stadium. I forget what the name of it is. I'll take the Saints in this one. I don't see the Raiders being much of a challenge. It's a dome game for that, and no home crowd. I don't see any reason not to take the Saints getting off to a 2-0 start.
As much as I want to take the Saints, I want to try to buck the trend here a little bit and bring back what we need desperately on this show. I'm going with, in memory of the half man, I'm going with the Raiders.
Nice. A little honor to the short man himself. We raised the fist for the half man who's out there somewhere. He's trying to get up over the curb, Jeff. I think that's the problem. He's trying to hop the curb today.
I just hope that he's not awash in the sludge that runs along the curb. That's what I hope.
It's very possible. Now, Jeff, let's get to the local teams in our last few minutes. Let's run through. Let's do which one you want to go first? You want to save the best for last, and we'll do the Jets now? What do you want to do?
It really doesn't matter because they both suck. You want a coin over there?
Let's do the Jet game. Okay, tough. Another tough week for the Jets. Okay, they got some guys dinged up. No Le'Veon Bell. I know that he practiced fully this week, but Becton's got a little bit of a knee issue. Big week for the Jets. Again, I keep saying that, and it bothers me to say it, but the Jets need to right the ship. 49ers flying across country. No George Kittle. I am not a huge fan of the 49ers. I will pick the 49ers in this one. I think the Jets need, at the very least, to be a competitive football team that doesn't get 95 yards in penalties, does not make the mistakes, and Sam Darnold cannot put the ball up for grabs.
Well, you can never turn the ball over. That's one thing. Okay, that just a given.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, Adam Gase has no idea what he's doing with Le'Veon Bell. Okay.
Yeah.
3, Becton. If this kid, they're going to rely on him. Last week's game, when the best thing you're talking about is the play of a left tackle, an offensive lineman, your team might have some problems. You know what I mean? So that all being said, leads me to believe that the Jets are probably going to lose several more before they finally win a game. That's one thing. Second of all, I still do not think that Donald is the answer. I think that I'm not going to call him a problem.
No. But
I just think that he's in the wrong situation and it's not good for him. I think he's backup material at best. And I think that is this year goes on, it's going to start to show that. But in other words, I don't see the Jets winning this week in this game. I just don't see that.
Yeah, I would be shocked. I mean, the 49ers, let's see what I have next week. 49ers are at the Giants next week, and the Jets are at the Colts. Again,
I see 49ers by more than 10 in this game.
Yeah, I will be surprised. Listen, Sam Darnold, we talk about it all the time. There are certain guys who just might have wound up in the wrong place in their career, and that what hurts them. Sam Darnold may be that guy as well. He might, here's a guy from the West Coast, might have needed to wind up on a different type of team than the Jets. But we'll see. Big game for Sam Darnold today. Big game for the Jets. That's all. That's the best way. I'll take the 49ers double digits. The Jets will score some points, but the 49ers win this game easy. That's my opinion. So now we get to the best of the last. This is an interesting game for me. I want to believe that my team can go out to Chicago and win this one. I'm not sure. This is another tough defense. Robert Quinn back in the lineup. Already got Khalil Mack. Unless the Giants find a way to fix what was the problem last week, I do not see them winning this game. Yeah, I see. I got you. Yeah, we see, Jeff. We know. I didn't have a guess which way you were headed on this one. So, no, I'm not even going to question that one. But we all know how you feel. Anyway, listen, I do think the Giants can win. I'm not a fan of Trubisky and that offense. So I definitely think this is not a must game for either team. This is just a good chance for the Giants to go out and have a good game and win this one. This is a game they can steal, and I think they will. I'm picking the Giants to win this in a close one, 23-17. I think Daniel Jones's legs will be the difference, and I think special teams comes into play on this one.
Well, I don't see the Giants coming close in this one. I think that the Chicago defense is going to be a big factor in this and shut down the Giants offense. I could see Daniel Jones, maybe what is it? Lou Pika, Gumad Tom. Giants went out. Lou Pika has no idea.
I agree with Lou. I agree with you. I think the Giants will find a way to win this one. I do.
Daniel Jones is going to be 13 of 38 for like 78 yards with 9 interceptions and maybe a touchdown amongst those 9 interceptions. Barkley is going to be 17 carries because they're going to have to throw the ball all day for 2 yards and a long of 3.
There went this week's professionalism that we're out the window this week. Even though I love that.
How I feel, man.
I gotcha. No, I listen. In normal years, Giants going to Chicago would bother me because it's while they're not division rivals. Talking about 2 old franchises. I've always had a problem with the Giants playing the Bears, but the Giants always do play the Bears well. And I'm not a believer in Trubisky. I think they luckily they won last week. Against the Lions team that is very beatable. So I think the Giants go out there. I think they play a heck of a football game. I think the defense played well. The one thing I need to see is they have to be able to stop Quinn and Khalil Mack. If they can keep open up a hole and let Barkley just, again, even if a pedestrian, 15 carries, 60 yards, they win this game, and they win it easy.
If Barkley goes 15 carries for 60 yards, we could start filling out the Hall of Fame application for him after last week's game. Okay, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Second of all, okay, Khalil Mack has had some really shitty games as of late. So it was an article. I was actually going to send it to you. I got to start sending you these articles as I come across them. The problem is I read them on my iPad, and I got to go back and read them on my phone. So long story short, everybody's predicting that Khalil Mack is going to break out and look like the second coming of fucking Lawrence today against the Giants. So whether that happens is another story. But if you read the article, it was just like, holy shit. If I was the Giants, I would say, look, I'm not feeling so good today. I'm not playing, especially if I was on the Giants offense. That's how bad they made this article seem. How he's going to have.
Listen, if you watch last week's game, it's hard to argue the fact. I mean, they did not play well up front, run blocking. I thought they had some times where they kept him, gave him some pockets when he did on the touchdown pass to Slayton. He looked really good in a nice, clean pocket. I think the big factor today for me for the Giants is Evan Ingram. Somebody wrote an article this week and they said, at some point, Evan Ingram should just become a wide receiver. He cannot block, which if you watch last week's game, he was horrendous on one-on-one blocks in pass rush, and pass protection, and in the run game. So Evan Ingram's got to play well today. He's got to hold on to the football. And today, Jeff, for to be the first time since they signed all these guys that Tate, Shepard, Slayton, Ingram, and Barkley and will be all on the field at the same exact time.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
And
unbelievable.
Jeff, bad luck, but you know what? But now do something with it. You can't go out there today and score 13 points. If you're the Giants, you have to show what I thought was going to be their strength this year was the offense, and I still believe that can be, but it's going to start up front. And I thought that Thomas played well last week. I went back, watched some highlights this week. I read some grades on him, mixed up and down, but he was playing against Bud Dupree, who's a 6'3", 275 monster. So I need a good game out of the offensive line. But again, I'll stick with my Giants, 23-17 on the road in Chicago. And I'm assuming you're going with Chicago.
Yeah, I have to, man. I think Khalil Mack is due for a big game. I think everybody jumping on Saquon Barkley is going to play on his mind, saying that he has no pass blocking skills. I think that's going to give him something to think about. With all of these weapons for Jones that are all going to come back, let's be honest, it's just a matter of time before one of them gets hurt, because that's what it seems like it's been.
Yeah, can't argue it.
For the last season and a half since he's taken over. And, it's when I understand that there's a new coach and everything else, and he's in his second year, second coach, second offensive coordinator, all of that stuff like we say about all these other guys. But when is it that, you realize what you have in Daniel Jones? Huh? If he doesn't lead the Giant offense, or who has to lead the Giant offense? Is it him? Is it Barkley? What happens if Barkley doesn't seem to get his pass blocking skills? What happens? Do you trade some of these people? Do you what? What are your thoughts there? What happens?
Well, again, I still have a lot of faith in it. I think the hope for the Giants is they get off on the running game and they take the pressure off Daniel Jones and run the football. I think having the weapons back this week, I think helps him. I thought Daniel Jones was the big bright spot on that football field for the New York Giants last week. He played really good football when he was given the opportunity, made a couple of big plays with his feet, which is huge in today's football. And I will not give up. I think Daniel Jones, we found the long-term answer at quarterback. The question, and I think Barkley's a great player. The question is, can the offensive line, Jeff, I know you didn't watch it. I watched it. Every single handoff, he was being hit in the backfield. It wasn't like, he was getting caught from behind. He get through the line. The guy literally got hit in backfield, and you're just not going to get off that well. And the Steelers said it. They sold out. They were going to make sure he did not beat them, and that may be the key to stopping the Giants right now.
It may be, but you know what? you can't say that they were so keyed in on Barkley that they were in the backfield every play. It just goes to show you that offensive line didn't take the step that it needed. Now, granted, it's the first game of the season, but you have two very important players on offense in Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley that need that offensive line.
Yes.
And to me, I hate to say it because I know I've been saying it over and over, and I'll say it, I'll keep going until it happens, but Gettleman's got to go. He's got to go. You can't build your team the way you're trying to build it with the skill players first and then trying to find the offensive line. Now, I understand that the players you wanted were there at the time. I can understand that, but you got to do a better job at securing it, them and their future. One of them gets hurt, that's it. It's done. The season's done, and depending on the type of injury that possibly they could get, could be bad for that team in the long run. And I just think that a lot of that now falls on Gettleman. When is his pass over? He's got to do something about that offensive line.
Well, again, it remains to be seen. This one, I saw some good stuff out of that line last week in pass protection, but not in a run game. So you're right. I think Gettleman's future relies on the fact that this team's offensive line has built right now with obviously Solder opting out hurts a little bit, but I don't think Solder played well last year. So, but you drafted Thomas, you drafted Hernandez.
I don't think Solder missing. If anything, I think that helped the team.
I'm gonna agree with you on that. I'm gonna agree with you. I think
he had no choice, because if he was here, he would have been your left tackle.
100%.
Had that kid playing on the right side.
Correct. And again, you may be back because last week the guy they had on the other side was horrendous.
And suppose that kid ends up getting hurt on the right side. You know what I mean? Get him all the reps he needs on the left side. You cut ties with Solder after this season. You're a better team for it.
No, I think that's where it's headed. And I like Thomas on the left. And I think he's going to be fine. We'll see. Like I said, you're 100% correct. I think Gettleman, more than anything, his future is tied to not only wins, okay, because they all know Giants need to do better this year. But if that offensive line is a flop and everybody there is his guy, then I think that'll spell the end of Gettleman's tenure as a Giant head coach, general manager. So yes, I agree with you, Jeff, on that. Could be a mixed bag. If they play well and they still lose, he could still lose his job. But I think his time here is strictly based on how the offensive line does.
Let's say that this is Gettleman's last year. Okay, let's say that it doesn't go good, and they ended up getting rid of him. What is his legacy with the Giants?
Well, it could be good still, Jeff. You think about it. If let's say it doesn't work out and the next guy comes in, brings a couple pieces, and Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley lead the Giants for the next 10 years, you kind of have to give Gettleman he drafted Jones. Nobody else thought of Daniel Jones as a legitimate NFL quarterback, especially at number 6. Most people did not put him in that category. If Daniel Jones, even if he's not Hall of Fame, if he's Kirk Cousins, if he's Matthew Stafford, if he's that good, where he's not an elite quarterback, but he's in that, I think his legacy will be okay in Giant world.
Well, it remains to be seen. Curious to see which way it's going to go.
Absolutely. It should be a good game of football. Beautiful weather outside. I hope you guys are enjoying the fall. We went right from the fall to yesterday. I walked out of my house and it was 55 degrees out. It's going to be 80 at the end of the week. So, guys, enjoy your weather. Have some football. Watch a little football today. I hope that the NFL is dialing back the social justice messages. I don't know officially. I really don't care. I'm not watching any pregame shows, Jeff. I'm not buying any NFL paraphernalia. And I will turn the Giant game on and take it from there today at 1 o'clock. Any game you'll be zeroing in on today? Are you watching any football?
Nah, I'm going to pretty much do what I did last week, which was follow it on the computer. I actually have a couple things. I stayed home today for a reason. My wife asked me to do something with her later on today. So I was like, yeah, no problem.
Nice.
I'm gonna follow it on my phone throughout the day, but I won't be watching. I feel as though that it's the lesser of two evils as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't bring myself to thoroughly enjoy it and sit and watch it, but I have to know what's going on, so I could just follow it through ESPN.
There you go. Listen, everybody's got their way. I feel the same way. I will watch the Giant game after that. Not really sure. I am curious on the Cowboy-Falcon game, so I may zip by that a little bit. But, yeah, it would be the Giant game for me today. I'll flip them back and forth between them and the Jets. It's funny. The Jets and the Giants are on the same exact time, I think, today, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're on both at 1 o'clock. The Giants are on CBS and the Jets are on Fox. They got rid of that years ago. But let's see how it goes. Everybody, listen, enjoy your football if you watch it. If you're not, no problem. Support the cause. Remember, come back Thursday night, 7 to 10. Jeff and I will come back. We'll break down today's games. We'll talk a little Yankee baseball. Yankees are playing great baseball right now, so we'll talk a little bit about the Yankees. We got some music stuff, and we got all our usual. Maybe someday we'll get an appearance from the Half Man. But until then, Jeff, you want to end with anything? Got anything you want to end it with?
No, man, just looking forward to Thursday already, and this is where we could go over the scores from this Sunday, and here's hoping to a team that's 0-2 in the NFC East.
Yeah, the Cowboys. Yes, absolutely, Jeff. Good call on that one.
I think more like the red, white, and blue team, man. Not America's team, but
it should be America's team. Well, guys, listen, we'll end this right here. We'll give Jeff a chance to get on with his day off. And I thank everybody who paid attention online. Thanks to everybody who helps get the show on the air every week. And I look forward to Thursday night. And remember, come back next Sunday morning when Jeff and I break down week 3 of the NFL right here on the Sunday morning Hard Rock and Sports Football Show. Gentlemen, for Jeff Towinski, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rock and Sports, enjoy your day. Enjoy your football. Have some wings. And have a great weekend. Jeff, I'll talk to you off the air.
You got it, man.
Later.
Later.